students, welcome you all back to our social class. I told you in previous class itself we are going to see about the history chapter, right? Yes. So history chapter, the socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. This is what we are going to see, and this chapter is really about the European countries, how they are before and how they are at the revolution time. So this is what we are going to see. So first thing in that is about the age of changes that happened. You might have studied in the previous chapter about the French Revolution. Yes, can you recollect few points about French Revolution? What all happened in the French Revolution? So how the revolution was started, who played a very important role, that is the middle class people, and how the social division was existing in French Revolution. Just have a recollection, my dear student, then we'll get into the content. So if you see in this chapter, the chapter which will be giving you about the ideas, powerful ideas of freedom, equality, which was been circulating in the European nations. Then, if you see, as I told you about French Revolution, which had a society of three estates. First estate, second estate and third estate. So, first estate comprises of the nobles. Next estate you can find the clergies who have been there. Then you can find the lower middle class, the peasants who have been surviving. So the peasants were being the strugglers who were been really struggling, and the middle class who supported them to get freedom. Yes, so get into the French Revolution. So that is the thing. So French Revolution, as you go through those content, you will be getting so much of ideas. So society was divided, and suddenly after the revolution, if you see, you can find there was a lot of changes which was brought in many parts, even in not only in France, even in Europe, even in Asia, you can find lot of changes were being there after the French Revolution. You know why? French people inspired the Europeans as well as the Asians. Then, this new idea made them to have an independent right. They wanted them to demand for their own rights, independent rights. And who were being controlling the social power began to discuss, or these people tried to stop, or the people who are being called as aristocrats, monarchs, kingship rule, or the nobles were being considered as a person who has to be thrown out of his own rule. But you know, they don't want that to happen immediately. They wanted it to happen in a manner which can be done in a very slow process. Okay, so that is the thing. Then in India, not only in India, they are saying that about the French Revolution and about great leaders were being spoke by different other leaders, which created an enlightenment. Enlightenment means an eye-opener to the others, to know what is happening in the other country, as well as who played an important role in that was also being discussed in the common meetings. Even the speeches were being given by different leaders, which made the people to understand even they can demand for their own independent rights, and there is no one to control them. So those kind of situation was developing in Europe as well as in Asia. So this is an gist which I have given you. Then if you see about a particular thing about India, means Raja Ram Mohan Rai, you might have heard about him in your lower classes, who was a person who was against the aspect like sati system and all, right? So he even did a widow remarriage. Yes or no, my dear students? So he is a person who has involved himself in the social revolution. He started giving ideas. He started giving the speech about the French Revolution and how the French people fought for their own independence was being said by him. So all the people believed that Rajaram Mohan Rai, whatever he said, was really a great thing to our nation. So this idea was being spread among the peoples, and the idea of post-revolution which happened in Europe was also circulated among the people. And this, the development in the colonies in turn reshaped. So the development that was happening in the colonial countries was reshaping them into different aspects like social changes. With a lot of social changes they were being developing. So this you can see. Then not everyone in Europe had the idea to throw out the king. There were few people who were called as conservatives. So what is this conservative? This conservatives means conserve resources. Now you might have studied. What is this conserve? To safeguard, to protect. Okay? Similarly, there were a group of people who were being called as conservatives, who wanted to protect their own traditional way of ruling, traditional way of practices, traditional way of dominance should be prevailing. So that is how the conservatives were being there. So these conservatives did not want any changes to happen in the society. No need of any modernization to happen. That is how the peoples were thinking. But here the conservatives in Europe were also wanted to have a complete transformation. So complete transformation means slow transformation which should happen, and the transformation should not affect anything. That is what is their idea. Then in this area you can also see that they started accepting few changes which was prevailing in the society. The conservatives started accepting few things which is also changing in the society, and this is about the conservatives. Beyond this, we also have the other group which is called as liberals and the radicals. So liberals or radical, which has been given in your book. So these terms will be really making you to wonder what is this liberals, what is this radicals and all. So here you can find, I'll give you the details about it. So these terms are being really great. Liberals means people who wanted to have freedom. They wanted to be liberal. You'll ask, ma'am, do liberal corrections. That means to be free. They don't want a controlled environment. Similar to that, here the liberals are also the people who don't want to have a controlled environment. Instead, they wanted an environment with a proper administrator, but that administrator should not be too much controlling person. So that is what is the thing. Then radicals. Radicals, the person who thinks differently. Oh, rational, you might have heard this word. Do you remember in maths? Rational. So rationalize this number, you will get a sum, right? To make it very simplified. Right? So the rationalism means making it into very simplified, like analyzing and knowing what is wrong and what is right. That is called as radicals. So these are the terms which are being used to describe the different sections. As I told you, conservatives means conservatives who wanted to save their own traditional way of administration, domination and practices. But they even wanted to have a transformation. They started accepting few changes. Liberals are the people who wanted to have a liberal environment. They don't want any controlled environment of their own. And radicals are the people who wanted to analyze everything and do according to that. Okay, so this is what is about the introduction of this chapter, Socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. So the next thing we'll see in the next class, my dear students. Thank you.